Hello, hello. I'm back. How's everybody doing? Good to be back with you all. I hope everyone's doing well. If you are new here, I thank you for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I am your host, Leticia, and this is the Healing with Leticia podcast, Reflections from a Therapist. And if you are a returning listener, welcome back. I really appreciate you being here again. So, let's see. I want to make sure. Is this recording? Yes, it is. Okay. So, I'm at the park, and hopefully it's not too loud out here again. It just feels good to be out in nature right now, and I think that some of the inspiration kind of comes to me more when I'm out in nature and just taking in everything that's around me. So anyhow, I apologize in advance if you hear any craziness in the background. I am sitting near an area where the back is like a street, so you might hear some cars driving by. Some of them are speeding and they should not be, so anyhow. So I do hope that everyone has been doing good. I'm trying to remember when the last time it was that I recorded. I want to say that it was probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I do know that it was around the time that my uncle had just passed away not too long ago. It was like a couple of days before that. So maybe like around September 15th or 16th, something like that. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that has reached out to me to ask me, if I'm doing okay, or to just send their condolences. I really do appreciate that. It's been an experience for sure. But I am happy to report that I'm feeling a little bit better and more at peace with things. And, it's always good to feel better, of course, after going through some stuff. So, and then I've just been sitting here at this bench thinking about what would be a good topic to talk about today, and I always think about what would be something that could benefit other people. And I also think that, it's important to self-disclose here too, because, as a therapist or just a healer in general, which, I do some healing work outside of therapy work. I also obviously go through things. It's not like I have my shit together and I'm out here trying to tell other people how to get better and I'm not, I'm doing everything fine and everything's good and dandy on my end. That's not true. There's a lot that I'm still sorting through. There's a lot that, the advice that I give to others, I have to take myself. So this is where I try to pull from for my episodes, because I do think that it'll inspire someone, it'll help someone, even if it's to help someone not feel alone. That to me is enough. And like I've mentioned before, this podcast isn't to become, a popular therapist or a popular healer or something. It's more so to connect, even if it's just with one person, to be able to help someone have hope or to feel heard or just to not feel alone. So that is my purpose with these episodes. So I hope that is what these episodes have been doing for those of you that do listen. And if there's any feedback or anything that you would like me to know about what you think, what you feel, what you got out of an episode, I'm definitely open to hearing that. I love feedback, especially if it's something that helped you move through something that you're going through, or if you felt heard or understood in some type of way. So let's see. So today's episode, and this is maybe something that I've been struggling too. So I think that it's important that I bring this up because it was the first thing that came to me. And I am practicing to go with whatever comes up first before having my ego jump in there and make it something else. So I think the first thing that came up for me was that, is there such a thing as being lazy? Is there such a thing as being a procrastinator? And the more that I think about it, I don't think that's true. I know that there are people out there that proclaim to be, procrastinators, and this is how they get their work done, and, they hyper focus for hours, and that's how they get their stuff done. But that always usually comes with like a side of guilt, a side of shame, some type of stress or anxiety in order to get something done. So I don't think that that's healthy. It shouldn't feel that way if you're naturally that type of person. And, most people that I talk to, right, and I talk to a lot of people, most people, if not all, feel like they're thriving and they feel better about themselves when they're actually being productive. Okay? So that means that most of us like to have a checklist of some sort where we like to check stuff off and say, hey, I did these things. That feels good. I did something today that makes me feel good about myself. And I'm sorry if I'm like moving around, but there's like a bug in my face, which is kind of annoying. But anyhow, so, with that being said, I don't really think that I believe in that. I don't believe that we just choose to be lazy people. I think it's a label that we go to on default. We're thinking that that's what it must be. We're lazy. I just don't feel like doing anything. I do better when I'm under pressure, and then I get things done. And I don't think that's healthy. And I don't think that that's how most of us really would be functioning if there weren't other contributing factors. So I think the reason why I'm saying this is because I do talk to many people, and I also struggle with this myself. And if I have a day where maybe, there are some things on my list that I said I was going to do, then I will think back and say, well, maybe if you didn't do this, or maybe if you would have not wasted time doing that, or, et cetera, right? Like, the inner critic is very active and tries to beat us up when we're not doing what we thought we were going to do. And then that leads to feeling, not good enough, or being lazy, or, whatever you call yourself, right? There's a bunch of stuff that comes up for many people. And I don't think that is something that we just naturally choose to be. I think that there are different contributing factors that make a person not be at their full potential sometimes, right? These are just things that come up for many people, including myself. Let's say that someone struggles with sleep at night, then that increases your cortisol level. And so that's your stress hormone. And then from there, you're feeling exhausted and drained because that's pulling from your adrenal glands, which, that's what gets you going to do things and to have the motivation and the energy to do things. So if your cortisol levels are high and you're feeling drained from your adrenal glands, then you're going to feel exhausted. And that's not just because of lack of sleep, which is like one of the number one reasons that people struggle with like mood issues, motivation, being irritable, just not having the motivation to do things. But then there's also other things, right? Like, for instance, one thing that comes to mind first is how realistic are your goals as far as how many things you plan to do on a daily basis. In some cases, people overwhelm themselves with like really, really long lists, and they think that they have to get these things done all in one day, and then they don't. So then they beat themselves up. How did I not get that thing done? I should have been doing this, that, and the other. How did I fall behind? So there's a lot of like shame and guilt with that again. And I'm sorry if you're hearing like a really loud car in the back. It's super annoying. Probably won't pick this park again. But anyways, yeah. So, realistic goals, super important, because that leads to a lot of guilt and shame with not getting things done the way that you envision to get these things done. And, I normally share with clients that in most cases, people will have like maybe three top things that they need to do, like 3 tasks that they're going to get done that day. And you would put them in the order of what comes first, right? So number 1 and number 2 need to get done today. Like, they're time sensitive. I'm going to do this today. And number 3, if I don't get around to it, will go over to the next day. And that becomes number 1. So that's more realistic. But when someone feels overwhelmed and it's just too much, and you're overwhelming yourself to the point where you're just feeling like you can never keep up, that makes a person not want to even get started in most cases. So I think maybe I'm focusing on that because that does affect your productivity. That does affect whether you start something or if you don't, because of what you're putting on yourself as far as like the pressure. So that's one of the that's one of the things that also comes up for others. And then you got to think about, any medical issues that you might struggle with. A lot of medical issues also affect energy levels. If you're struggling with chronic pain issues or hormone issues, that also affect your energy and your mood. And so anyways, there's a lot that I could come up with for other reasons other than, you must be lazy. You are just a procrastinator. You just don't like to work. I don't think that's true. And maybe someone needs to hear this, right? Like, you're not a lazy person. And maybe I need to hear this too. Where it's like, why do we push ourselves to the point of beating yourself up, shaming yourself, not feeling good, and then you wonder why you don't get things done? Like, sometimes our body just doesn't want to do that thing, right? Like, maybe you thought you were going to work out and you just didn't feel like you wanted to that day. It could be that your body literally is asking you to just rest and not, be out. Hold on. There's a spider and I do not like spiders. Okay, there it goes. All right. Gosh, I picked the best park ever. It has all kinds of different animals and bugs. So anyways, so what I'm saying is that, sometimes the way that we think about ourselves is what really makes us feel exhausted mentally, physically, spiritually, right? Like, all of these different ways. And then you don't want to do anything. You just don't want to get that thing done. And sometimes our body, not even just sometimes, all the time, really, we should be paying attention to how our body communicates to us. It's always communicating to us. Whether it's, I'm hungry or I'm not hungry, I do want to move my body, I don't want to move my body, I want to sleep, I don't want to sleep, right? Like, lots of times we're forcing our bodies to want to do something that maybe it just doesn't want to do. And, I'm not saying, don't ever work out, right? Like, sleep all day, all the time. What I'm saying is that there are periods of time where, we're supposed to slow down. That is what is being asked of us. And, our best isn't always going to look the same every single day. And that is something that a lot of people forget. I might be more high functioning today than I was yesterday because maybe the night before yesterday I did not sleep well. So that means that now my mood is off, I could be working slower. Maybe I have concentration issues because I didn't sleep well, right? So, it does affect a lot. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that label themselves as just lazy and, not really liking to get things done, or, I'm a procrastinator. That's just the type of person I am. And I'm just saying, I don't believe in that personally. Like, I don't. If you are and you feel like you are, let me know. I want to know more about you, right? Like, how do you identify with that? Is that something that stresses you out? Is it something that you feel is healthy for you? Because I don't think I've ever heard of a person tell me that they're a procrastinator, that they're lazy, that they don't have the energy to do things that actually feels good about it. Most people don't. And when we look at what is happening in their lives and the way that they think about themselves and the labels that they call themselves, that hurts them. It hurts you as a person. And that actually, it's kind of like a internal bully of some sort that is always making you feel like you're not doing good enough. And that's why I go back to our best does not look the same every day. It looks different according to how we're feeling, how we slept, what is going on, what are contributing stressors. How did you sleep? Again, that's super important. How you sleep at night will affect your mood and anxiety levels and concentration issues and all kinds of other stuff. So that is what is on my mind today as far as, what I think is important for someone to hear out there. And, as much as I'm saying this to all of you, I'm also taking this in because I am also my own worst critic. I am a recovering perfectionist. I can't even speak. Perfectionist. And, knowing me, I would probably delete this because there's a lot of times in this recording where I feel like I wanted to say something and it came out the wrong way. But I'm not going to do that. Because why? Because this is my best for today. And I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not perfect, and there is no such thing as being perfect. So I hope that someone out there gets something out of this episode. If you have any thoughts or feelings or opinions about this episode, feel free to let me know. I think there's like a comment section somewhere. And feel free to follow me on any of my social media if you would like. I know I have an Instagram. And then I also have a Facebook somewhere for therapy, for my therapy work. But I would say probably the Instagram account would be the one for what is connected to this, for this episode, and any other updates and things that I go off of. And then also I have a YouTube in case anybody cares to follow that. So anyhow, it was great talking to you all. I do hope that you all are taking care of yourselves out there. Don't forget about your basic needs. Don't forget to hydrate yourself, to sleep, to eat when you're supposed to be, and, move your body in a way that feels good. I mean, these are all things that are healthy for us on a daily basis. And, I like to end my episodes with saying that we all need something to do. We all need something to look forward to. And we all need someone to love. So I hope that you all have all of those three. And if not, I hope that you make the time to be able to fill those in for yourself, because they are important to be able to have a better quality of life. So take care, and until the next episode, I will talk to you then. Take care. All right, bye for now.